Good afternoon. Happy Saturday to you. First Saturday in the month of August. Where has the time gone? You know, it just does not wait on anyone, right? How in the world are you? Dr. Preston R. Winfrey here. I am doing fine. Thank you for asking, by the way. I'm in my right mind. I have a reasonable portion of my health, my strength. I have the activity of my limbs, and I'm mindful of what today is, who I am, where I am, and that is a blessing. So many people, as you know, are not in their right mind, and so many people are in this world and not even aware that they're in the world. Do you know how blessed you are? I mean, to have eyes and be able to see with, ears you can hear, a mouth you can talk, you're able to feed yourself, drink water, you're able to relieve yourself when you need to without the assistance of others. Hey, that is so much to be thankful for. Well, why don't you today, after our little time spent together, why don't you put your comments in the box for others to see just how blessed you are. Just share with them. I know you can't share everything, but share some of what the Lord has done for you and what He's doing. Maybe He's brought you through something. Maybe He brought you out of something. Maybe while you are still in something, He's sustaining you and keeping you in your right mind. Well, that's a whole lot to be thankful for. And my talk today is knowing when to shake the dust from your feet. Knowing when to shake the dust from your feet. We are living in a day and a time where there are countless people that I'm convinced that they have this feeling of entitlement. Everyone owes me. I'm supposed to have the best of everything, and who doesn't want the best? But having the best comes with the responsibilities. There are some things that you have to do. And I believe this spirit of entitlement, much of this attitude derives from a person's upbringing. Now, if they weren't conditioned to perhaps, be this way, maybe the ball was dropped in other areas where they might have just given them things without any responsibility, never required them to work to earn privileges, right? Just whatever they want, I want your life to be happy. I know so many parents who says, I don't want my child to ever have to work, and I don't want them to have it as I had it. And many have lived to regret that. They're dropping that ball and not requiring their children to work to earn privileges. They just gave and gave and gave, and subsequently the child eventually grows up and they continue to want. As a matter of fact, the older they get and the bigger they get, they want more. And the frequency intensifies. They want more and more and more. And they don't want the duties, they don't want the responsibilities in exchange for the privileges. And this is usually a root cause for a person to grow and feel that everyone owes them something. Too many people are living on what we call, how would I put it, living on easy street. They have had it so easy for the most part of their life, and when they are called upon to be responsible, they feel like you're being unfair to them. Why do you want me to do this? Why do you want me to participate in this? I just want to eat. It's like the person who doesn't mind always going out as long as you're popping. You pay the bill, they're eating. You're supplying the the food and the beverage, they'll come to the party. But when you say, hey, can you help make the room up? Hey, can you help decorate? Can you help clean up? Can you bring a dish or two? Then they want no parts of the affair. So they feel as though you're being unfair to them. Assignments to them are often taken as punishment. They're not team players. Many times people who have these feelings of entitlement, they're not team players. They don't know how to get along with others. They don't desire to get along with others. They just want it their way. They want what they want when they want it, with no exceptions to the rule. They lack the ability to comprehend when something is in their best interest. They have been known to cut off their own noses, people say, to spite their face. Being number one, being large, and being in charge is their mode of operation. They have many times convinced themselves that what is theirs, and what is yours is mine. And that is so far from reality. The truth of this matter is this: even though a person may want to have life on their own terms, in other words, even though they want to have it both ways, it can never be both ways. Life is fair. Life is so fair. Listen, you get as well as you give. And maybe right now, as I'm speaking, you're thinking of some people. I'm sure you've got some people in mind who fits this bill, fits this description. And listen, folks, there can be no gain without some pain. You're going to feel some pain. You can't just get it all and not give. Sometimes you will be up, but you can't always be up. And you see some people who's up and they tend to look down on others as though to say, look at where I'm at. But then when the tables are turned and they are down and others are up, they can't quite handle that. You remember the rich man and Lazarus in the Bible, in the book of Luke? I'm not going to tell you what chapter. You can look it up for yourself. But the rich man was up. He had things his way. He lived a luxurious life. He had fine purple, and he had all that anyone could want in life. Anything that would suggest that he was a success according to the standards of men, this guy had it going on. He didn't see the need to reach out to help the least, the lost, the left out. He didn't understand those persons whose plight it was to suffer and be in the out crowd, not the in crowd. He just didn't get it. He couldn't wrap his mind around people who didn't have the luxury of laying your head on a soft pillar. He had servants. He had dogs. He had things. He had, if you will, to make a long story short, he had affluence. But this man had no common sense. He had no compassion. He had no love for others. And both of these men died. Lazarus, the beggar, who was begging, just, sir, please, just let me have something to eat. Just give me what you're throwing away. And what did the man do? He sicked his dogs on him. And the dogs, when they saw this poor, diseased beggar, they had so much compassion, and they began to lick the sores of Lazarus. But the day came, and I told you earlier, tables in life will turn. There are people right now who's flying high and perhaps are of the opinion that, hey, I got it made in the shade. I'm in control. I'm in charge. You know how they do in the world. Talk to the hand, talk to the elbow, because the hand is no longer listening. They tell you where to go, how to get there, and how soon you need to get there. But listen, what goes around in life comes around. And just as sure as you dish it out, my friend, you're going to have to eat that one day. We call it eating crow, and crow is not a very tasty meal. Lazarus died, and when he died, he was immediately being comforted. But when the rich man died, he found himself in Hades, place that was filled with torment and fire and bad memories, and he sort of demanded that Lazarus be sent. He was able to see Lazarus being comforted and said, hey, send Lazarus over here so he can dip his finger in a cup of water and put it on my tongue and cool me because I'm being scorched. And he was told, game over. The tables have turned. One day you can have joys, and then the next day you can have sorrows. But what am I saying? There can be no crown without a cross. Oh, I know we want these crowns, or I'm going to wear a crown. But you got to go through something. You have to go through something in order to obtain that cross. There can be no resurrection without a death. Listen, there can be no heaven without Jesus saving you. Jesus said one day to his disciples, I am the way, I'm the truth, and I'm the life, and no man can go to the Father except he come by me. Sending his disciples out one day, before he died, Jesus told them, listen, don't take a purse with you, don't take no script with you, just take the gospel, take my gospel. Not a social gospel, not an economic gospel. Take the gospel that deals with the birth, the life, the death, the burial, the resurrection, and the second coming of Jesus Christ. That's the gospel. He says, take it out and listen, wherever you go, whatever town, whatever hamlet, whatever city, whatever state, whatever country you find yourselves in, taking this gospel, take it to them. And if they open the doors and receive you with gladness, go in and sup with them. Be a blessing to them. But listen, he says, I'm going to warn you. Some places you go to, the people are going to reject you. They're not going to want what you have to offer. And isn't that like life? There are people who will open their hearts and their arms to you and receive you warmly. And then there will be those who will snub you, those who will turn their backs on you. And you would think that this is just people you do not know. But Jesus said, listen, I came unto my own family, and they received me not. So don't be upset. Don't be ashamed, and don't be alarmed when even your own family snub you. But remember what I said. The day is coming when the tables are going to turn, and the relationships that they don't want, relationships that they reject, the help, the love, the compassion, you're reaching out, that they reject. The day will come when they will live in regret. And they'll have to say, wow, I was a fool. It was my error, my great error. And unfortunately, sometimes it's too late when a person makes up in their mind that, oops, I'm going to repent of this. I'm going to turn it around. Sometimes that door has been shut. Now, this principle is not only true concerning the gospel, but it's also a principle true for living in this day, knowing when to shake the dust from your feet. And listen, my brothers and sisters, it's important for you to know when to shake that dust from your feet. If you've been reaching out to others and they won't reciprocate. They won't give you their hand. They won't embrace you. They won't even acknowledge you. Maybe it's time to shake the dust from your shoes. Shake it from your feet. Later by. A one-sided conversation is not a relationship. I can recall reaching out to some people, and they didn't have time. They didn't want to be bothered. And they made it known, I don't want to be bothered. They didn't have to say it. They showed it. Well, that's not a relationship. That's not a fellowship. What does a fellow do? Do you continue to run? Do you just throw yourself down? Do you beg and say, oh, please, 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 please? Listen, where one won't, someone else will. And I say to people all the time that if you've been in a relationship and that relationship goes sour, that relationship doesn't work, don't get mad at everyone else. Deal with what you have to deal with and move on. Shake the dust from your feet and move on. Tomorrow can be a better day. Don't destroy yourself. Don't go down in a pit of sorrow saying, oh, nobody knows the troubles. No, don't go there. Wake up, smell the coffee. If that one stopped looking at you, someone else is looking at you. That one stopped wanting you, someone else wants you. That one stopped coming over or wanting to talk, someone else is standing in line saying, please talk to me. I want you to know that this is a big world. And if you're doing all of the giving and they are doing all of the taking, it's time for you to turn this bus around. You say, well, I can't turn the bus around. I'm not driving. Well, then get off of that bus and get on the bus that's going in the direction that you need to go in. Finally, listen. It's important for any person to know when to fold and when to walk away. Know when game is over. Know when the party ends. When the party ends, it's time to book up, take off, get going, adios. Know and understand and embrace your limitations. And we all have limitations. And sometimes people say, well, limitations, oh, that's just so negative. No, you need to look at your limitations in a positive light. That when you understand your limits, you can't make people love you. You can't make people accept your kindness. You can't force a person to embrace you when you want to embrace them. And so acknowledge, embrace your limitations, and be all right with that. Be at peace with yourself, and shake the dust from your feet and let them have their own dust. And you need to free yourself and go ahead, and you will discover how much better, how much greater life will feel to you. Remember, no gain without pain, but you can have joy. Jesus came into this world that you might have what? Death. Came that you might have sorrow. Came that you might live your life with regret. No, he came that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly. And he says, I'm going to show you just how much you can have life. He died one Friday. They buried him in a borrowed tomb. But on the third day, you know what he did? Do you know what he did? Do you really know what he did? You want me to tell you? Do I have to tell you what he did? He got up with all power in his hand. And one day, he's going to come back. He's going to come back for all of those who love him. Now, let me ask you, do you love him? Do you love the Lord? Do you love him? Do you love him deep in your heart? Do you know he has a wonderful plan for your life? Listen, you know some things about him. He's a heart fixer, isn't he? He's a mind regulator. When you're in sorrow, he's joy. He's water in dry places, bread in a starving land. He makes a way where there is no way. And when the way gets too high and you can't reach it, he can bring the way down for you. when the way is going crooked and you feel, oh my gosh, am I going in the wrong direction? He can make the crooked way straight. Listen, he will give you peace that surpasses all understanding. He'll give you a joy that the world can't take away. And so I want to say to you as I close, know when to shake the dust from your feet. Get it off your feet. Clean your feet and go in a different direction. And the God of all peace will be with you. Well, listen, God loves you. I love you. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I pray that the Lord will bless and keep you and cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Pray that the Lord will lift the light of his countenance upon you and that he'll grant you his peace. Until next time, this is Dr. Winfrey saying thank you for joining me. Have a peaceful rest of Saturday. And I pray that on tomorrow that you'll find yourself going into the big house so that you can shake glad hands. And listen, don't neglect going to the church. I know you can Zoom in. I know you can listen in. But listen, there's nothing like the real thing. Get on up in there. Get there early and shake some hands, minister to someone, and not just ministering to them, but sometimes God will send someone there to minister to you. How about that? All righty. Well, God bless you. God loves you, and I love you. Have a great rest of the day. I'll let this music finish playing out. Just a few more moments, and then we'll bid you a great day.